eventually you get absorbed in, and you are Sonic.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to No Repeat, a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create a perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. I'm Taylor Olmsted, and I'm here bundled up with my co-hosts, Tyler Reed.
So is it illegal to wear short shorts when there's snow on the ground?
And Sean Evans.
It's like 75 here. What the hell kind of question is that?
But just presupposing that there would be snow on the ground.
What, do you have some short shorts that you really want to wear right now?
I do. I wore them today.
And does there snow on the ground?
No, there was not.
Then why is this pressing on you? Or are you just like trying to figure out where the bounds of short shorts are?
Look, I actually, and this question is relevant to me as well, because I went back to Ohio this weekend to celebrate my mother's birthday, and what she really wanted to do, or at least what she told us she really wanted to do, was go snow tubing, because it's something she's never done, and there is a ski resort a few hours outside of Cincinnati that you can go to where they do artificial snow, and we checked, and they were open yesterday, even though it was 74 degrees there.
Which one was it?
Perfect North.
Okay. Well, that's because it's just actually a sheet of ice in Indiana.
Well,
it's the closest thing that most Midwesterners will get to a glacier.
Well, right. But my point being, we went hiking instead because it seemed weird to snow tube when it was 74, and we wore shorts. But we could have worn shorts to snow tubing. Would that be weird?
No. Just probably skin your knees up. But I get what Tyler's saying. I think I understand why you're asking the question relative to the challenge. And the answer is, I don't think you're going to be able to move that fast. Because remember, the bottleneck of a Costco is always the registers.
It's true. It's true.
It doesn't matter.
Is always so cold in there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, the store is huge. Everything about Costco is huge, except for the inevitable funnel of carts that come into the registers. And don't get me wrong, the Costco next to me that we go to, they usually have every lane open.
And yet somehow it's never enough.
And it's never enough. And they have the self-checkout kiosks. Usually during rush times, they have cashiers at every kiosk just scanning with hand scanners, just scanning carts. And there's still a line. Like, you still have to wait behind 4 or 5 people at every register.
On a good day. On like a regular day, like a not a emergency day.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even worth going to Costco if it's an emergency day. It's over for you.
Well, that's a great segue because Tyler still needs to tell everybody what our challenge is. Tyler, what is this that we're talking about here?
It's our longest preamble yet. This week, we are challenged to find the perfect song for our Pre-Snowpocalypse Costco Run, submitted by Jack Van Kuren. Thanks, Jack. And if you want to submit your own challenge, you can DM us or wait for the Instagram post. You can add us however you want to do it on Instagram or Twitter at NoRepeatPod, or you can email us at norepeatpod@gmail.com. Thanks so much.
Let me just be the first right off the bat to share the way to get this pro tip for Costco. Get a cart, go with somebody that you love and trust, and then when you get about 3/4 of the way through the store, have the person with the cart go up and get in line while you go and finish picking up the last things. And that way, when you get up there, you're already ready to go. And if you don't, then you're just back where you were before.
Yep, this is actually correct. This is very much correct.
But the person who's waiting in line has to have like a little basket, right? Like they gotta just in case.
Well, the person that goes, they take the cart with them. Right, you're not.
And so then you go pick up the last few things with your hands. I see. You're right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're picking up, like, you're going through the snack section and getting like the barrel of nuts and the 5-pound bag of Cheetos.
Yes, correct.
Right. And or the other reason you have to go with it is because inevitably when you go there every 9th time, there will be somebody who gets up to the line and they only have 1 package of bagels or 1 6-pack of muffins. And you will have to wait for them.
And they will inevitably pay in cash or check.
Right, unless you have the one cashier who's like, you know what, I'm charging you for 2. I'm just going to hold this up here. After the transaction, you go grab whatever other muffin you want, and then I'll just let you go after.
The point of this challenge, though, is the pending emergency situation where there is a run on the grocery store. And I think the specificity of Costco is important because it does imply a specific kind of customer. Because I live in like an inner ring suburb, but up until last year, I lived in the city and we did not have access to a Costco. You would have to drive like 30 minutes to get to a Costco. So for us, the emergency shopping was always at like Kroger. And then if they were out of things and you were really desperate, you would go to the grocery section of a Target. And let me tell you, there is a big difference in the emergency shopping in the grocery section of a Target than there is in a Costco. Because most of the poor souls who are shopping for emergency groceries at Target, they know that they messed up. This is their first rodeo. Costco, I feel like that's where the preppers go. You go to a Costco or a Sam's Club when there is like even the slightest forecast of snow, and everybody in there is in full-on parkas, coveralls. They've got a strategy. They have multiple lists. They are ready to go. It is like a strategic combat zone.
I've never been to Costco.
It just wouldn't even cross my mind to go to Costco in an emergency. Like, you just feel like that what you're gonna get is just not, how do I say this? See, I really feel like I have good opinions about this because I work for a grocery store chain. There's no tertiary SKUs at Costco. And think about the things that you go in and get when you're at the store, right? Like, if you go in a snowpocalypse, right before the snowpocalypse is going to come, and if you live in DC, that means that they're talking about snow. And literally one of the news stations here has a bread meter for how much snow is going to come.
How many loaves?
And they tell you, like, that is how much of a joke it is here, right? How many loaves you should probably get at the store, the bread and egg meter. You go to Costco, there's only like 3 varieties of loaf bread there. You have like one wheat, you have probably a better for you wheat, and then there's inevitably Dave's Killer bread. So you have like $3, $4, and $9 bread, and there's nothing else. And you're not taking home pita for French toast. You need loaves of bread. Whereas you go to like the grocery store, they have at least 18 different brands of different loaf bread, and you probably have a bakery. And I just feel like at Costco, even if the loaf-o-meter was at 2 loaves, and you knew that was going to be $3.50 at Costco, the chances of you getting in there, because at our Costco, I don't know what it's like for you, Taylor, at our Costco, bread is on the back wall.
Yes.
Like, you have to go all the way to the back to get to milk and bread, and then eggs are on the other side where frozen's at. So you have to go all the way around just to get the big 3 for your snowstorm French toast fix. And it is not a thing. Like, it just, when I think about what I have to do at my own stores or the stores that my brand owns, and you can go in there and you can be out at self-check in like 3.5 minutes if you have to dodge people. Costco, no way. That's a fist fight.
Well, and this is the other thing, right? Is like, I think there is something about the nature of a Costco in particular, a Costco, Sam's Club, etc., that they engender a kind of madness. It's like the IKEA madness, where people say, like, the store that ends most relationships is IKEA. I feel like Costco is very close. It's a similar, like, big box, loud, high ceilings. Like, it's not designed to be a comfortable shopping experience. And it's also, like Sean said, like, you don't really have options, which is in some ways a blessing and a curse. You can't fight over, like, do I get this brand of chips or that brand of chips? Instead, you are fighting over, do we really need 72 ounces of trail mix?
You're fighting over the concept of the item, not so much the specific brand of item.
Right.
Yes.
But I think personally, in a weather emergency or similar, I am much more concerned about like the things that I feel I'm going to want or need, which are almost never milk, bread, or eggs.
Right, exactly.
And yet somehow those are always the things that go. I am after the trail mixes. I am after peanut butter, right? Like, particularly non-perishables and things that I don't have to refrigerate in case we lose power. And yet for some reason, the entire United States has decided that two of the most perishable items that we regularly buy, milk and eggs, are like the absolute storm essentials, and I just don't get that. You whipping up omelets?
No, that's what I mean. It's French toast.
Milk sandwiches, French toast?
Yeah, it's French toast. That is at least the Mid-Atlantic's favorite go-to snow food. Or like whatever, what is it called when you have the little cutout in the middle of the...
Oh, egg in a basket?
Yeah, egg in a basket.
Bird nest.
With a glass of milk.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. But think about, I'm with you, Taylor. I'm like, what are you going for in a snowstorm? Oreos and soup and probably chips. Like,
yeah.
Things that don't require a microwave.
I think we've established that it's going to be a hectic experience. It's going to be stressful. There's going to be fights. Like, no matter what grocery adjacent store, even if it's a convenience store, it's going to be high stress when the snow is coming, when the flood is coming. Like, it's going to be a lot. And so song pick wise...
Yes, getting into songs.
What we actually do here, I was after that. I was after, like, tensions are high, gotta keep it moving. In the immortal words of Merlin Mann and John Roderick, move fast, get out of the way. That is the ultimate use for the super train scenario. You have to keep it moving in the store on emergency day. And so in that way, I am like, what's the song that's going to keep me moving, that's going to keep the sense of ominous foreboding going, right? Like, I need to know why I'm there, know what I'm getting, and know my exit strategy because it is time to leave. But what about you guys? What was your approach?
Well, it's Costco, so I have to approach it in a seek and destroy mentality, but with
Seek and Destroy would have been a great song for this.
Yeah, Seek and Destroy would have been a great song, but I also have a reverse Rumsfeld kind of thing going where it's the known unknown that worries me.
Explain.
Or I guess, well, his was the
unknown unknowns.
His was the unknown known, right?
So for those who are as confused about this as Sean is, but more so, Donald Rumsfeld gave an infamous speech alluding to the possibility of Iraq having weapons of mass destruction, saying that, quote, there are known knowns and there are unknown knowns, and then there are known unknowns. But, and this is where I'm paraphrasing, the crucial thing, or he said like the thing to worry about or something like that, is the unknown unknowns.
But he didn't invent this concept. This was invented by it was some sort of like social scientist and strategist or something like that. He didn't like invent this. He just
did not communicate it effectively, and then it was parodied to the ends of the earth, perhaps most famously by the Boondocks. And I will
thank you.
I will link in the show notes to the amazing Boondocks scene where they make fun of that speech.
I was waiting for that. I was like.
So when I go to Costco, if I'm going during a snow emergency, it's basically, before I even get in the car, I'm calling Costco to put in a phone order for a pizza. Because you know that if you're waiting in line, you gotta be ready to get ripping out of there with a pizza. Like, that's gonna make your whole trip. Because there's nothing better than coming home on a cold day with a, like, warm pizza on your lap. Just knowing that when you get home, you're gonna be able to devour this delicious pizza. But yeah, move fast, get out of the way. Seek and destroy. Don't play games. I don't like to play games on snow emergency trips. Honestly, I try not to do them if I can. I try to have enough here in the winter to at least make sure. Like, that's why we get consolidated oat drink that looks like milk because it has like a 3-month shelf life and we don't drink milk because we're also millennials. And that's just what we do.
I will say, if you cannot give up cow's milk like I can't, the pro tip is to shell out extra for the organic milk because it does last twice as long.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It's if you want to freak yourself out, go look at organic milk shelf life versus regular milk shelf life. It's
unreal.
There's something wrong. There's just something that's really odd about that. But yeah, I wanted a soundtrack song for that. So yeah.
So I thought about the drowning music in Sonic, or like any sort of like danger sounds in a game. Like, low health. And so I then sort of wanted to so I took that, and then I was like, okay, but what if I rode around at the speed of sound? Got nowhere to go, gotta follow my rainbow. what if I instead do a little like SSX tricky sort of like ice level, snow level, sort of like let's get the funk going. And so I kind of tried to marry the two, in which it then led me down a path where I started to look into like 2009 2010 like early like EDM like pendulum or like the glitch mob. And so it got very intense, and I was like, I need to back away from this. Like I like a boss music, but I don't want to. This is a little too much. So I somehow wanted to convey the impending doom and sort of like the joy of it being currently nice outside, and sort of like meshing them with like, now I have to focus to get out of this shopping experience in one piece and just like sort of like zero in. We have a lot of challenges where like I have to put up my horse blinders or else I will not do the thing, or it will not be done effectively. And usually the grocery store is where I need that the most.
I have never gone grocery shopping with you, but I totally see that.
I feel like we just need to take Tyler to Costco once just so he can see. Like, I remember going to Costco when we went to my wedding in San Francisco. When you get out of the airport, there's a Costco that's maybe a quarter mile. And so we all packed into the car, and we were like, well, where do you want to go eat? We had to go get food for the Airbnb. Went to Costco, and the first thing we did was like go to the food court, and just like my brother and Scott just went crazy. They're like, wait, you can get a piece of pizza and a hot dog and a chicken bake and a sandwich and a thing and a cold brew coffee, and it's just like, and the bill was like $22. And you're like,
incredible. So good. Well, if it's all right with you guys, I think I will go first this week. I chose Storm Coming by Gnarls Barkley. Gnarls Barkley, of course, the fairly popular side project of CeeLo Green and Brian Danger Mouse Burton. Most people assume that Gnarls Barkley is just one person and it's CeeLo Green. It is not. Storm Coming is one of the later tracks on their debut album, Saint Elsewhere, and it combines the like 60s Motown nostalgia of the Gnarls Barkley project with some more like cinematic elements that I think fit this challenge really well. Like, CeeLo is really showing off his range. He's got this deep baritone in the intro where he's talking about the storm coming. And then when he personifies the storm, he's up in his higher notes, his falsettos. And you get these big, booming, like hip-hoppy drums. And it just picks up pace, and it's so fast. And it kind of feels like juking around people in the Costco. Like, I'm imagining myself, for maximum flexibility, I've got the flat cart, not the regular basket cart. And I am drifting that shit around every corner. I am like borderline taking people out. Because I gotta get my stuff and I gotta get out of here. I am not stopping for free samples. The storm is coming. As CeeLo says, run for the hills to avoid the high flood. It's time. And this song really gets me there. It makes me feel the importance, the urgency of what I'm trying to do. But it also makes me feel powerful. Like, CeeLo is the storm coming. And sometimes you just want to lean into that energy. You just want to like ride into the storm that is Costco on a snowy day. I'm ready. Got to get those cheese balls. Ain't nobody getting between me and my giant family pack of toothpaste. I am here to shop. I watch a lot of Supermarket Sweep. I am ready for this.
This has got a good energy. I was not, I feel like I haven't really listened to a whole lot of Gnarls Barkley.
You especially would really like it.
It's been a while.
It's all very dark.
Yeah. Which
nobody thinks about. But it's like dark neo soul essentially,
which is sick. And like I specifically like remember him doing Crazy in and there was like a Star Wars performance at one point.
So every concert they used different outfits and they always dressed up as characters from movies. Incredible. It was such a cool project.
Yeah, I feel like I really just it was one of those things where I feel like Crazy just really just kind of like oversaturated, like just too much of it all at once, and I just kind of got tired of it. And I don't know, I feel like we got a lot of CeeLo Green for a while. I was just kind of like, I don't know if I need this. But no, this is awesome because like like you kind of said, I don't feel like you really sense the Danger Mouse influence in Crazy. Like, I feel like this is like, oh yeah, this is much more in his wheelhouse, I would say, and I really enjoy that, because I like as everything you said, there's a lot of cinematicness to this, where it's like there's a lot of horns, there's lots of like dynamics, a lot of like, and yeah, I feel like I've always really sort of enjoyed the vocal range of CeeLo Green. I feel like he really goes places, even if I don't know if he's like technically like proficient. But it's like, it's at least interesting. It's such a unique voice and such a unique style that like it really gravitate towards. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is a song about a storm and sort of like, it's sort of empowering. So I feel like this just works perfectly for this challenge. I think I might have to go back and listen to this album. I was really digging this.
It feels very post shopping. I don't know if I hear this song as during shopping. I don't know.
I can see that.
It feels like
sometimes like it's like if your music's too loud, you can't see.
What? I've never felt like that before.
You've never felt like that? Like you're not trying to park and you gotta turn your volume down so you can focus better? I swear to God that's a thing that people do. Anyway.
I do that. I'm with you.
I turn it down. Yeah, no, I do it, but it's not because I feel like I perceive the world better.
I'm not saying that's what actually happens. Yeah. I'm just saying that's a thing that just people do.
Yeah. Okay. I like the song. I like the pick. I like that you said it's like dark neo soul. It's only 3 minutes in it, but it feels a little weird that it takes it like almost a minute and a quarter to kind of pick up to where I feel like it should be the whole time. But that said, I like it. I like what it's doing. It doesn't strike me, like I said, as being the act of running somebody's ankles over with one of the orange carts, which is horrifying to think about. Like, I feel that's why I wouldn't want to have an orange cart, because I feel like you could do too much damage with that. There are certain points of the human body that just feel very weak. Like if you were an alien, how do you get them? How do you get humans really quick? And one of them is our knees. We're just not built for knees and ankle injuries here. They don't function in any direction but forward. It's really strange. So yeah, I'd go with gray cart. Also, you can if you're going and you're getting more than just bread and eggs and you have the gray cart, I feel like you could, just make sure you get that free throw follow through with whatever you got. And because you can kind of catch it in there, right? Like somebody can keep walking the whole time. The key is never to stop, because once you become a stagnant object, then people start getting mad at you, and that's when you're noticed. And the key to getting out of a Costco is just constantly being on the move, enough to not piss anybody off, but you're invisible if you move in Costco because nobody's running into you. Versus, because you know it,
move fast and get out of the way.
Right. If somebody's going to stop in front of the giant package of Swiss cheese and look at it, I'm first off thinking to myself, it's just 4.5 cases of Swiss cheese. What could you possibly be looking at here? What are you thinking about to yourself? Like, where did the rest of the cheese go? How come all these holes are in this cheese? Is there another block of cheese made of all these holes in this cheese? Do I have bread? Can I make sandwiches? Like, I just don't. It's like, do you want the cheese? Do you need the cheese?
See, this is why I gotta have my headphones on. Because my mind would drift to those locations. I would ponder those queries. And I would lose. Yeah, I would lose all track.
Okay, I'm assigning homework. Before this month's Billy Joe Armstrong's Middle School Notebook, you are each required to watch one episode, any episode of your choosing, of the game show Supermarket Sweep, and we will discuss.
I've seen the show.
I know that Tyler hasn't, though.
What do you mean I haven't? I was a child of the 90s.
Go and watch the reboot with Leslie Jones.
Okay.
And then we will discuss grocery store strategy more on our Patreon exclusive bonus podcast, Billy Joe Armstrong's Middle School Notebook. It's an extra show we do once a month. You can get it by supporting us for $1 a month on Patreon. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Sean, what do you got?
This week I chose Puke Box by the Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. So, soundtracking was what I tried to do here. I wanted an upbeat, energetic song for going through Costco. In my mind, I imagined it to be more a Jackass style-y, where you're ideally with 3 people.
You're doing shopping cart jousting?
Yeah, exactly. There's somebody that's sitting in the cart. Upside of Costco is they're so big you could fit an adult human in one. You have somebody else pushing and you have somebody else grabbing. So you basically are teamworking your way through Costco. Ideally, if you had a few children in your family, you would all be doing something together. You know, little Susie goes off in one direction. You have a fixed rendezvous point. Costco is all about military style precision. You got to know rendezvous points. You have to know the layout. Nothing really changes radically too much, but you also have to know the skills of your team players. Like, it is my assumed job in Costco to push the cart, because I don't know why. It's just something that I do. I handle it. Sometimes Sarah will do it. If I get tired of running into people, that's just the way it is. I just handle it, and then Sarah's the go-getter. If the thing is over there, then Sarah goes and gets it, and then she comes back. Like, if the cart can't fit in there. You know this, Taylor. It's like...
Yeah, I am also the cart person.
Right. And everybody just has their role. That's the kind of precision that you have to have in Costco on a regular day. So I just assumed that even more when you did this Snowpocalypse, you would have to do that. So when I did this, I liked the upbeat guitars. I liked everything being a little gritty. I liked the falsetto singing. It just has good energy, and that's what I need. Because I'm really going into a place where I know I'm going to come out in a bad attitude, so I want to have a good vibe, fun song to make myself feel better as I'm trying to figure out this process. Coincidentally, the music video is also about superpower foods.
Doesn't hurt.
That was just coincidental, right?
You know, this is one of those bands that I have loved for a long time, but didn't know where to put on the challenge, because they have such a unique sound, but it all kind of sounds like this. Like, some bands you want to hear artistically evolve over the course of their career. You know, you have your Becks, who are like chameleons and do something different every album cycle. The Psychedelic Porn Crumpets sound the same all the time, and I always want them to sound like that. And this song is what they sound like. And it is perfect for running through a grocery store like a mad person, trying to get everything you need as quickly as possible. I think you nailed it. The only thing that I don't totally love about this song is that I feel like it doesn't have quite hooky enough of a chorus. And this is something that I feel about their whole catalog, really. They're so riff dependent that they often don't separate their verses from their choruses very well, because they usually just rely on a riff to keep the song moving.
Yeah.
And I feel like the right producer could really shake up their sound a little bit and give them some big hooks that would make this land a little bit harder for me. But that may also not be what they're going for, so I don't know.
That's such a good point, because I don't think I've actually listened to this band before. I feel like I've definitely heard the name, definitely have been around. I feel like I listened to it quite a few times. You know, I listened to it back to back to back to back, and I feel like I enjoyed the journey, but I feel like there was the hook. I feel like was at some point was missing a little bit in terms of like that big like chorus, like the big like takeaway, right? Like it's not like a big dumb like Ali X like chorus. It's like I'm gonna, it's so easy anyone can remember it, But that being said, I really enjoy this as like a Mario Kart sort of like double dash our way through the grocery store. But like, I say Mario Kart, but that makes it sound like we're having fun. Sean's, this is serious business, okay? This is tactical. so there's a reason why this
Forza.
this is a reason why this isn't ska, right? We don't need any trumpets, we don't need any saxophones, because then it's Mario Kart. That's actual Mario Kart. Then we're having too much fun.
Then it's Clown Parade.
Yeah, this is a Clown Fiesta. Yeah, this is as suit and tie as a rough and wild tumble is gonna get trying to pick up some milk for little Susie and the gang. But yeah, so I'm interested to sort of like dig into this band more because I like the core, I like the sound, I like all the elements of it, and I'm just thinking maybe there's a best song for me. Yeah, I liked it. It's a good pick for challenge.
All right, Tyler, that just leaves you. What do you got?
This week I chose Blinker by Soichi Terada. Soichi Terada is a house artist who is most notable for doing Ape Escape soundtracks. So I managed to get in the video game aspect in here somehow, but Pitchfork actually had showcased this album recently, and I decided to give it a listen out, and I was really enamored by it because I feel like he really is a sort of classical sort of house artist who sort of also feels like he embodies sort of the era in which he sort of created within, sort of like the PS1, PS2 sort of era of games. And so I feel like there's a lot of sort of like sounds that I feel like sort of like echo to that sort of era that I feel like a lot of people right now are kind of calling back to. So yeah, so just generically, I think his work is kind of cool. And so what I was thinking about is, like I said, I kind of wanted like a danger element or sort of like a ominous tone to it, but also sort of still had the sort of joy of spring in some way with a little bit of focus added in there. And so I think this sort of the house genre really lends itself to sort of like a sort of zeroing in sort of like repetition that I feel like really sort of keeps you in a one mental state the whole time. And I feel like there's a little like sort of like twinkling synth sounds that is pretty, but has a little bit. It sounds a little ominous. There's a little dissonance in these little twinkly sounds, and so that sort of gives me evokes the idea almost of like a light snowfall, of like maybe like there's some flurries coming down, and I'm wearing my short shorts, and I'm not prepared for whatever groceries I'm prepared to get, and so I feel like that sort of like really like that element really made it be the song that I picked for this challenge. It wasn't just like any house song, because I feel like generally the genre probably would have worked well in this case, but I feel like that sort of that spice of that was really nice. But I feel like there's also like sort of almost more bassy sort of synth that's kind of going that adds sort of almost that boss rush element, that sort of like darkness as well. But I feel like there's definitely like some moments in here that feel like alleviate the tension a little bit, that are just sort of nice and feel sort of like ethereal and sort of wispy, and I feel like that maybe gives a little bit more of a spring vibe to it. And so yeah, so that's it. I feel like I was just sort of trying to soundtrack the mental state, and just sort of like in a I don't know, like a outsider perspective of the event.
Not for me, man.
Every week we hit it, boys. Great.
I mean, look, I love house. I think calling this house is pretty generous.
To be fair, I am also willing to admit, I know some. I don't know everything about the vast. What would you call this then?
I don't know. It's definitely house adjacent. And I don't know, maybe like in the classical definition of house, it would qualify based on its BPM and like structure. There's just not enough drums. There's a kick and a snare, or a kick and a shaker and a hi-hat. And I don't know, I feel like I need some snare. I need something with some punch. I think the synth textures are really cool. I do like the twinkly melody line. I think it cuts through the bass on this really well because it's a very bass heavy track. But it needs a little more punch for me, especially for this challenge. Like, this is an aggressive experience you're bringing yourself into. Any kind of grocery store, especially at Costco, right before the snow hits, you gotta be ready to go. People are gonna be loud. Like, I'm not sure, even if I had headphones on, I would be able to hear this over the noise. I just think it needs something to kind of like push me a little harder.
I don't need a chaos. My mind is already chaos.
No, I don't think you need the chaos. I just think like it's a little too quiet. It's a little too sleepy, as you might say. You're out here picking sleepy songs again.
I'm always sleepy. Any sleepy heads out there, let me know.
Is it my turn? Okay, I don't want to beat up on you either, but this is not my bag at all. Like, I didn't like this. I honestly don't really have anything positive to say about it. Not that it's like, I'm gonna sit here and say that it's just not me. I don't like the dreamy texture of this. It's too subdued. Even for me, if I'm in a subdued state, it's like I look for something lo-fi, and this just feels like some video game background music that I'm glad that like this says a lot about who you are. And that's what I got out of this. That like you go in there, you're focused, you need something to keep you in the zone. And you also found out from this song too that I like discovered about myself, brought from my subconscious to my conscious mind, that I need music that motivates when I do this. I need it to be fun. Like I already know what my task is at hand. I need something to push me through it. Whereas it feels like you are having your music, like your music it does a different purpose. It serves as like the trajectory. It helps you stay on course.
I feel like in the last like year of doing this podcast, I feel like we have never been more divergent in our musical interests. But I don't know. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've sort of evolved into a much more sort of like, I need something that's much more in the background. And that's like really satisfying is when I feel like something doesn't need to super grab my attention all the time. I don't know.
Yeah. It's not that it needs to grab my attention. I think it's just like I listen to music for energy, to like set myself up in a place, and I just couldn't think of a situation when I would want to listen to this, even if I was like sad or wanted to chill.
This is homework music for me.
Homework music, baby. I'm always doing that homework. Well, I'm sure you will enjoy lots of my B-sides because they all went into a very weird place.
So now it's time for listener picks. This week we have a few. Looks like there might be some more coming in, but we have a few. So we're going to go ahead and shout them out. Missy Goss picked Move, Bitch by Ludacris. I totally remember this song.
It's a classic.
It is a classic. Oh man, terrible pun name. I read it and I started to laugh before I could even get it out. Picked Shut Your Eyes by Snow Patrol. Hold on, I need to look this up real quick. Okay, this works. Yeah, this song works. This is what I was kind of hoping that your song wanted to play up on this. Like, it's a little sad to have to go on a Snowpocalypse grocery run, but also it doesn't, I don't know. It does have some energy to it. Okay. And then last this week, Alex Lockwood picked Heat Seeker by Variant Thor. Is it Valiant? Valiant Thor? Valiant Thor. Hooked on phonics, kids. Let's check this out real quick, too, because I like to do this. And the initial reactions here. This has a very southern rock feel.
Yeah, okay. I can get into this.
Yeah, all right. All right, and now it's time for our notable B-sides. These were songs that were so close to getting picked but didn't quite get there. Anybody got some B-sides?
Off the Grid by Ye. Probably my favorite track on Donda. Blackout by Turnstile. Don't Get Captured by Run the Jewels. Feel like there's always a Run the Jewels song. We're Not Good People by Block Party. And I really almost did it. And I'm very surprised that I restrained myself. Save Yourself, I'll Hold Them Back by My Chemical Romance.
Ooh, that's fun. Go! Dance with the Dead. Valley of the Damned. Dragon Force. I started off in a very...
This would have been the challenge for Dragon Force.
It was a strong contender.
You should have shot your shot.
In retrospect, I should have really been ready to take the bullet for Dragon Force in this specific instance, but I was afraid of the judgment. That's okay. Water Level by Yawning Portal, Floating Mountains by Soshi Takeda, and In Love 2 by Lone, We Can Make the World Stop, The Glitch Mob, Promises, Nero, Last Bloom by Floating Points. Yeah, got a lot of electronic there towards the end.
I kind of looked for lots of stuff on my save playlist, and I felt like this song was actually pretty deep down that list. So I don't remember what else I was kind of listening to. I was looking for something of an indie vibe. I know that this band is not really that indie, but it was all about energy for me. That was really what I was going for here. I've said it like 9 times already on this show, and I feel like Psychedelic Porn Crumpets just did it. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, Tyler, if people want to share a family-sized bag of Funyuns with you, where can they do that?
Please don't. Everybody, you can find design illustration work at rudepets.club, and it's always the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Rude Pets Club. Thanks so much.
Sean, if people want a free sample of your work, where can they find it?
You can find me on Telly Sean at Instagram.
And if you want to check myself out, you can find me on the socials at TC Olmstead. You'll find all these songs on the official No Repeat Podcast playlist. We have merch. There's a merch store in the bio. We have the Patreon with its exclusive monthly podcast. But of course, we'll be back here next week with another episode of No Repeat.